Hello and welcome to the Yamaha News Desk, where we get to keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of local racing. And this week that means we're going to cover a little bit of off-road and a little bit of tar. But it's to the off-road we head first, down to KwaZulu-Natal, where we go to Roseleigh Farm for the Time Freight hare scramble.
The 2010 South Coast Motorsport Club Time Freight Series kicked off in style in January this year at Rob Gurney's farm in Roseleigh, near Middleover, with a field of over 270 riders packing the starting grid, featuring experts right down to clubmans. Time Freight, a long-time supporter of the South Coast Motorsport Club, really stepped up the plate for 2010 and have sponsored the whole season, ensuring the club that they can give their riders even better events than in the past. A bit of history today. Roseleigh was the venue of the very first South Coast Motorsport Club way back in 1981, where on that day, young entrant's life started in the world of enduros, and Alfie Cox won that event in 1981. Now, 29 years later, he's still doing pretty damn well, pulling off a 6th overall today and a convincing win in the Masters class. And that was with some serious names out there on the start line. They call this Hell's Gate, and it's all downhill from here, as you can see. The course just on 30 k's of the region's best motorcycling terrain, the usual cane breaks to get things going, splashes through streams, a good rocky downhill, a couple of quick climbs as well, lots of off-camber single track, which is what bikers love. But to add to the flavour was mud and water. Friday night, a real good KZN downpour. And Saturday was, well, as you can see, slippery, very slippery. In no time at all, the forest sections turned into a quagmire. And for the less experienced riders, it was a nightmare. A couple of bottlenecks forming up in those forests, but luckily the marshals and the club really sorting that out. Yes, how are you doing today? Pretty well by the looks of things. Luckily overcast, but still very humid going. A lot of riders cartwheeling down these hills, and one of them was Kobus Hamsa. On his way down, things went a bit pear-shaped, and somehow his petrol cap came loose. He was apparently under the bike at the time. Well, he got back on, made his way to the bottom, and then the spilled petrol went, well, you know where. And the language went fairly blue. Speaking of blue, well attended by Yamahas today. It seems to be KZN is Yamaha land at the moment. But out front, it was the KTMs of Spencer Creel and Altus de Vet showing the riders the way around on this hare scramble. Great to see 270 bikes taking part in what really is just a club event. Shows you how strong off-road riding is in KZN.
It's been very tough.
It's only this
especially when you like me so unfit. It's not much fun at all. But train's been good, just a few bottlenecks.
Fitness is always the name of the game. Got to mention some of the juniors, because I think the star of the day was undoubtedly Scott Bovary, who ended up 4th overall, making his way past 80 plus other riders after starting back on the 9th row of the grid. Can you believe it? The Warwick Oliver boys, Travis and Brandon, also showed the old school a few things, coming 7th and 11th overall respectively. Are we having fun yet? Of course we are. Let's mention Dominic Mantle as well in 9th place and Ruan Roberts in 12th. So the youngsters really showing some of the older guys how to do it. But a few of the older guys still had a bit to say about this event. Alfie Cox in 6th overall, Clive Coulthard in 13th and Eddie van Munster in 17th. All showing there's no substitute for good old experience when it comes to off-road riding. Also saw CJ Blackman, one of the national riders out there on the trail, and he was right up with the front runners, but decided to collect a bit of electric fencing wire on his 3rd lap, about 5 kilometers of it. Yes, it was actually CJ Blackman who stole all the electric wires on the day. Luckily it wasn't switched on at the time, but it took about 40 minutes to get that stuff out of his motorcycle. Sorry CJ, better luck next time. And that is number 220, Greg Ballington, obviously related to the great Cork Ballington. Louis Nork here, riding in the regional vets class. A nice wheelie from one of our leaders. It does look like Spencer Creel is flying around. The expert rider is doing 4 laps and all the regional guys doing 3 laps. And you can see why they can only manage 3 laps of this course. Well done to the boys from the South Coast Motorsport Club. And you can see electronic timing. They just have to scan the little sticker on the crash helmet. It tells us exactly where the riders are out on the track.
Can you run through the race? Hey, muddy, slippery, but big fun now. I got stuck in a couple of bottlenecks, but I think so did Spencer Creel as well. But it was a lot of fun, huh? I enjoyed it. Good start to the season.
Oh yeah, it was a great race at Altus. You know, we'd sort of get stuck in a bottleneck, and the other guy would get past, and then sort of back and forth right up till the end of the 3rd lap, and then the last lap they started changing the route because it got very difficult for the club guys, and we kind of lost each other and didn't know where. I didn't know where he was. I thought he was in front of me, so I was racing flat out, and turned out he was behind me, so it all worked out.
Well, that was impressive, wasn't it? Can you believe 270 riders taking part in that hare scramble, and to me at least, looked like a very difficult event indeed. So well done to everybody who finished.